Welcome, Kelechi Achinonu.
Thank you.
Kelechi, the first question I wanted to ask you is could you tell us about yourself and your journey?
All right. So, hi, my name is Kelechi Achinonu. I am based in Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian lawyer, and I am currently a young justice leader at the Pathfinders for Peaceful, Inclusive, and Just Societies. I am also a Next Generation Fellow for Justice with the United Nations Foundation. And my 9 to 5 is I work with HAIL. HAIL is the Hague Institute for Innovation of Law. I am currently the head of the Innovation Hub here in Nigeria. My journey so far, with respect to where I am today, or something I'm passionate about, which is access to justice, has been fueled by the many ills that I've seen in our society, in Nigeria specifically, because I grew up in Nigeria, about how people are deprived of the basic things or access to basic things, access to justice, based on their economic, financial, or social status. It's so bad that a man or a family man can literally hand over a case in court that has to do with maybe land issues or even a wrong done to him. He can literally hand that over to his family as an inheritance just because our court system isn't particularly reliable. And these and many other things, more notably is the NSAS protest of 2020 that happened in Nigeria. And that sort of fueled, for me, the need to keep advocating for change, to keep advocating for access to justice. And that has been my journey in a nutshell. And it's been an interesting, not so easy one, but an interesting and impactful one so far.
Why is Peace Day so important?
Peace Day is important because I think it's a day to reflect on what we've done so far or what we are doing to achieve true peace. It's a day to connect, I believe, to reflect, on we've come this far. What are we doing to, again, still building for future generations or still creating a life or a world that people will be grateful for? What are we doing to make this world better, to achieve true peace? The world is plagued with chaos, tension, devastation, hunger, poverty, it's everywhere. And it's just seeing how everyone in their different capacities, whether world leaders on the global stage, people locally, people in communities come together one way or the other to just reflect, to just think, and to see exactly how we can definitely achieve peace. What's working? What's not working? How can we amplify what has worked? How can we do better? Why is what we are doing not working? What do we change? What do we tweak? How do we make it better? How do we optimize for success? And so I think it's a day to actually just think, to reflect, and to also reassure ourselves of hope. Because I think that a lot of people have lost their lives in trying to get us to where we are right now with respect to whatever we can call peace that we currently enjoy. And so sort of ensuring that the lives of the heroes, as I would like to call them, are not particularly in vain. And we are doing what we can as people to ensure that, we do better.
So, you are a young justice leader for the Pathfinders for Peaceful, Just, and Inclusive Societies.
Yes.
Could you tell us about the work that you're doing and its mission?
So, the Young Justice Leaders is a cohort of young people from all over the world who are, working to obtain people-centered justice for all and ensuring that the voices of young people are involved or are inclusive in certain decision-making that have to do with us. For me as a person, my mission or the work that I'm doing has to do with financing for people-centered justice. So I could come to explaining a bit about what people-centered justice means, and that's literally just having people at the center of whatever justice systems, whatever decision-making, whatever policies or laws are in place for people to benefit from. So it's like listening, people are the core of these things. And one thing that we have noticed or have seen so far in time is how, there's a lot of conversations around people-centered justice, but we need money for these things. We need money for implementation of proven strategies that have been seen to work. We need money to be able to scale up impact and scale up success. So for me, it's advocating for financing for people-centered justice, and also advocating that young people are involved in this kind of conversations, because we know what's going on. We are on the ground. We can see exactly what's happening in our community. And we are the best people to work with, to making these things work. And so that has been, my work so far, as a young justice leader.
Could you talk to us about the role of justice in fostering prosperity and peace?
Injustice fuels violence, right? And there is no peace in this sense without justice. I think that societies thrive when people feel like they are being heard, when people feel like they can access what's just and what's fair to them. And so I believe that justice is very necessary for fostering prosperity and peace, in the sense that when people have access to economic opportunities, when people have equal access to what they think is due to them, right, there is some level of empowerment, economic empowerment, there's some level of prosperity in that sense. I feel whole as a person when I have access to these things that I can contribute to the society in whatever way or form. And I think that when people are deprived of these things, some way, somehow, there is some tension, there is some chaos created, there is some level of resentment that comes up, and it just feels like people are waiting for the most little thing to trigger them. So I believe that, justice itself is at the core of having a prosperous or a peaceful society or country, in the sense that people have access. When people are wronged, they have the right systems in place to be able to seek remedy for that wrong. I think that level of trust in itself can lead to some form of empowerment, because it cuts across anything that has to do with the economic, the social, the financial access of people, or inclusivity of people in a community. And so I think that justice is at the core, our access to justice is at the core of prosperity and peace, in order to avoid certain kinds of chaos, tension, or whatever fear that may be caused by people not having access to it.
Could you talk to us about what can be done to accelerate progress in achieving equal access to justice for everyone?
So this is very interesting. Now, come back to what I said earlier about people-centered justice. I think that right now, which is really good, there is a conversation around people-centered justice. And that's basically a shift from structures, infrastructure, systems. Systems are good, but I think that systems that come out, that are created as a reason or as a result of listening to people's problems and creating solutions that work for people, are systems that would really scale. Now, in this sense, it's moving from just what do we think people want, or let's assume I'm a leader in a country. What do I think my people want? As against going to ask them, what do you actually want? What exactly is your justice problem? How exactly would you want us to solve this problem? Because we see that even in a country, it's categorized into different communities. I'll speak for Nigeria. We have Nigeria as a whole. We have different states which can be seen as provinces. And even in those states, we have communities as well. And even in those communities, we still have sub-communities. So it's also going to the core of it, asking people, what do they want? I think that getting a good sense or getting that data would really help leaders provide solutions that are actually what the people want them to do. It's not like it's not like you're forcing a particular system on people, but it's a situation where people know this is a system that they have asked for, and this is a system they want. We are more open to accepting whatever solution you prefer, because they have worked with you or they have collaborated with you to prefer that solution. So I think that trying out this strategy of listening to people, and people in this sense is the elderly, young people especially, children, the marginalized, the vulnerable in society, listen to different sets of people and hearing exactly what their problem is and providing solutions with them is something that I think will actually accelerate access to justice. It's also the part around being innovative about it, and doubling down on what's working. We've had different things. We've seen different strategies, legal empowerment programs, mobile courts, there have been different things, frontline services as well. So figuring out exactly what has worked and seeing how we can amplify that, doubling down on that while still trying to provide solutions to other kinds of problems. So I think being able to manage all this together is something that would really, really help.
Kelechi, why is youth participation in the international peace and justice space so important? And how can we ensure young people's voices are heard?
This is my favorite part. Because I think that as a young person myself, I believe that young people are creative. We're energetic. We're passionate about those things. I said earlier that, we grew up with people in our community. So we particularly understand the problem. We know exactly where it hurts the most. And we are able to provide solutions to these things. That's something that I do at Hill, a program where we call Justice for the User by the User. What that means is people that are actually suffering from a particular problem are the best people to provide solutions to this problem. And one thing that we've seen so far is, how having young people added to these conversations on the global stage feels like a checklist where you just tick it because someone is just there to talk or act like or make it look like, oh, you've invited young people to it. But we don't want that. That's not sustainable because we can see that we're just being used in that sense, right? To just check off a list. What we want or why it's important to have us is because we understand what's going on. And again, I'm currently 28. Whatever conversations, whatever decisions are being made are definitely going to make or bar my future. I am going to be impacted by it. I'm currently being impacted by it. And so it's also understanding that young people should be involved in these conversations that would obviously affect our future or affect my future. And I think that's why it's important young people are involved in this. There's a saying that goes that, if you're not on the table, you find yourself on the menu. And it's been like that because we're trying to use that to advocate that young people being invited to the table. I was currently at the African Youth SDG Summit. And one thing that we said is, if we are not invited to the table, we are definitely going to create our own table as young people. And that goes to show how much we are passionate about making a change. And we want to be involved in the conversation. We've been doing it across the world. Young people make up over 60% of the population worldwide. So it shows that we are here to stay in that sense. And it'd be great that, world leaders actually collaborate with young people to make decisions. We currently make decisions ourselves with the mind of future generations, thinking about future generations, because we do not want them to come into this world and sort of experience the hurts, the ills that we're currently experiencing. But these can only scale, or this can only achieve the success we wanted to achieve, where the older generation, the elderly ones, also invite us or have a conversation with us, and we collaborate together to build a future that our future generations will be grateful for. I mentioned that I'm a young justice leader, and interestingly, we're going to have a call for applications in the fall this year, for the next cohort of 2024 to 2025. And I'm excited to see the next generation of leaders, of young justice leaders that, will be taking up the mantle of having this conversation and, having and holding the beacon of hope to ensuring that young people's voices are involved in conversations that have to do with access to justice for all. Thank you.
Kelechi, thank you so much. Absolutely inspirational to listen to you, and the very best of luck on your journey.
Thank you very much.